If you felt her growing distant lately, these 7 subtle attitudes might expose everything she's hiding. Men miss these signs all the time until it's too late. These aren't obvious red flags like finding another man's clothes in your bedroom. These are the psychological shifts that happen when a woman's attention, affection, and emotional investment start flowing towards someone else. Most men dismiss these changes as stress, work pressure, or normal relationship phases. But they're actually early warning signs of infidelity. Understanding these attitudes can save you months or years of confusion, gaslighting, and wasted emotional energy. When you know what to look for, the pattern becomes unmistakable. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the truth other men wish they knew earlier. Attitude 1. Defensive behavior. When a woman starts seeing someone else, her psychology fundamentally changes. She becomes hyper-aware of potential discovery, which makes even innocent questions feel threatening to her secret. This defensive attitude manifests as aggressive reactions to simple questions that never bothered her before. Ask how was your day, and suddenly you're interrogating her. Inquire about her plans for the weekend, and she responds with, "Why are you even asking me that?" The same curiosity about her life that was once normal suddenly becomes suspicious and invasive in her mind. Watch for this escalation pattern. Question, pause, defensive response, then attack. She needs a moment to process whether your question threatens her deception, then responds with disproportionate hostility designed to shut down further inquiry. The defensiveness serves multiple psychological purposes. It protects her secrets by making you reluctant to ask questions. It projects her guilt onto you by framing your normal curiosity as problematic behavior. Most importantly, it trains you to stop seeking information that could expose her affair. Pay attention to which topics trigger the strongest defensive reactions. Questions about her schedule, new people in her life, or changes in her routine often generate the most intense responses because these areas overlap with her secret relationship. She becomes secretive about plans she previously shared openly. Activities that once generated excited discussion now get minimal explanation. When pressed for details, she becomes irritated and accuses you of being controlling or not trusting her. This attitude shift is particularly revealing because defensive people are usually protecting something. A woman with nothing to hide doesn't need aggressive responses to casual questions from her partner. Attitude 2. Sudden independence. This attitude appears as a desire for space and independence that conveniently creates opportunities for her to pursue another relationship. She frames this as personal growth, but the timing and specific requests reveal its true purpose. She claims she needs more space in the relationship, but this space always seems to involve time away from you rather than individual activities you could both enjoy separately. The independence she seeks isn't about developing herself as a person. It's about creating unsupervised time. She starts going out without informing you, not because she forgot, but because she's establishing new boundaries that exclude you from her activities. Plans that once involved discussion and coordination now become unilateral decisions that you learn about after the fact. Weekend time, which couples typically spend together, becomes something she prefers to spend elsewhere. She develops sudden interest in activities that conveniently require her absence during prime relationship time. These aren't hobbies she's passionate about, they're excuses for availability. The independence request often comes with guilt-inducing language about feeling suffocated or controlled, even if you've never restricted her activities. This manipulation serves to make you feel bad for wanting normal couple time together. Watch for the specificity of her independence needs. If she wants space from couple activities, but not from activities with specific other people, or if her independence consistently creates opportunities for private interaction with particular individuals, the motivation becomes clear. True personal growth involves developing interests and capabilities while maintaining relationship connection. But the independence that serves infidelity creates distance and removes accountability. Attitude 3. Changed communication style. Communication is often the first casualty when a woman's emotional energy starts flowing toward another man. The enthusiasm, warmth, and engagement that once characterized your conversations together begin to diminish noticeably. Her responses become short and dry compared to her previous communication style. Where she once shared details, thoughts, and feelings freely, now she gives minimal responses that shut down rather than encourage conversation. Fine, okay, and sure replace the natural flow of information that healthy relationships require. She takes longer to respond to your texts, not because she's genuinely busy, but because communicating with you has become a lower priority. The delay often corresponds with immediate responses to other people, showing that her availability is selective rather than circumstantial. Sometimes she leaves your messages unread entirely, something that would have been unthinkable when your relationship was her primary emotional focus. This isn't about being overwhelmed, it's about your communication feeling less urgent and important compared to other interactions. The tone of her communication loses warmth and engagement. Even when she responds promptly, the emotional quality feels different. She's going through the motions of communication without the underlying affection and interest that make conversations meaningful. Pay attention to enthusiasm levels. Does she seem excited to share experiences with you? Does she ask follow-up questions about your day? Does she initiate conversations about topics that interest both of you? When these elements disappear, her emotional investment has shifted elsewhere. The timing of these changes matters significantly. If her communication style shifts around the same time as other suspicious behaviors or coincides with new people entering her life, the pattern becomes more meaningful. Attitude 4. Protectiveness over phone. A woman having an affair develops an entirely different relationship with her phone. It transforms from a casual communication tool into a protected repository of evidence that could expose her secret relationship. She turns her screen away when texting, even during casual conversations that couldn't possibly involve private information. This subtle positioning change indicates she's protecting communications she doesn't want you to see, even accidentally. The phone starts living face down or on silent mode, reducing the chances of revealing notifications appearing when you're present. This isn't about general privacy. It's about managing specific information that could create questions or suspicions. She suddenly adds new passcodes or changes existing ones without explanation. Apps that were previously accessible become protected by additional security measures. Photos, messages, or call logs that were once open territory become restricted areas. Her physical relationship with the phone changes, too. It travels with her to rooms where phones typically aren't necessary. The bathroom, the kitchen while cooking, the bedroom when she's changing. This constant custody ensures private communications can't be accidentally discovered. Watch for her anxiety level when you're near her phone. Does she tense up when notifications arrive? Does she quickly grab the device when it buzzes? Does she seem nervous about you being in proximity to her communications? The protective attitude extends to preventing casual phone sharing. Requests to use her phone for simple tasks like looking up directions or checking the weather suddenly require explanations, delays, or alternative solutions. The same device she once shared freely becomes unavailable for the most innocent purposes. Attitude 5. Increased criticism. When a woman becomes emotionally involved with another man, her perception of your flaws and shortcomings often becomes magnified. This happens because she's unconsciously comparing you to someone who currently provides excitement, novelty, and idealized attraction. Small things about you that she previously accepted or found endearing suddenly start bothering her. Your habits, preferences, or characteristics that were once neutral or positive become sources of irritation and complaint. She begins comparing you to other men in conversations, though these references are often vague and indirect. Comments like "most men would" or "other guys I know" introduce unfavorable comparisons that didn't exist in her thinking before. Nothing you do seems good enough anymore despite your efforts remaining consistent with what previously satisfied her. This isn't because your performance has declined, but because her standards have changed due to her emotional investment in someone else. The criticism often focuses on areas where you differ most significantly from the new man in her life. If he's more financially successful, she might become critical of your career or spending habits. If he's more physically fit, your health and appearance become problems she needs to address. Pay attention to the timing and specificity of her critiques. Are these long-standing issues she's finally voicing? Or are they new complaints about aspects of yourself that haven't changed? Are the criticisms constructive attempts to improve the relationship? Or do they seem designed to create distance and justify her emotional withdrawal? Her attitude toward your positive qualities also shifts. Accomplishments, traits, or behaviors she once appreciated become irrelevant or even annoying. The same actions that used to earn praise now receive indifference or criticism. This increased criticism serves psychological purposes beyond expressing genuine dissatisfaction. It helps her justify her infidelity by building a case that you're inadequate. It creates emotional distance that makes her betrayal feel less significant. Most importantly, it projects her guilt about cheating onto perceived problems with you. Attitude 6. Unexpected schedule shifts. A woman pursuing another relationship needs to create time and opportunities for that pursuit, which inevitably changes her schedule in ways that may seem innocent on the surface, but follow suspicious patterns. Girls' nights become more frequent and often less specific in their details. While occasional social time with female friends is completely normal, and sudden increase in these activities, especially with vague explanations about participants and locations, can indicate time being used for other purposes. She returns home later than usual from activities that wouldn't typically require extended time. A quick trip to the grocery store takes 3 hours. A coffee with a friend stretches into an entire evening. The timing doesn't match the supposed activities, but she provides minimal explanation for the discrepancies. Her excuses for these scheduled changes become vague and difficult to verify. Instead of specific details about where she's going and what she's doing, you get generic responses like hanging out or running errands that don't provide enough information to understand her actual activities. Work-related schedule changes might also emerge with new responsibilities, meetings, or commitments that conveniently create additional time away from home. These professional obligations often involve people you haven't met and situations that are difficult for you to verify or understand. Weekend plans, which couples typically coordinate together, become something she makes independently. You might discover her weekend activities after they're already planned or find out about them when she's leaving to attend them. Pay attention to patterns in these schedule shifts. Do they occur on the same days each week? Do they coincide with other suspicious behaviors or changes in her attitude? Are there specific times when she's consistently unavailable without clear explanation? The emotional quality of her attitude toward these schedule changes also matters. Does she seem excited about activities she's reluctant to discuss in detail? Does she become defensive when asked about timing or logistics? Does she discourage your interest in participating or learning more about her new commitments? Attitude 7. Emotional disconnection. This attitude represents perhaps the most painful aspect of infidelity, the gradual withdrawal of emotional intimacy and connection that defines healthy relationships. When a woman's emotional energy flows toward another man, less remains available for her primary relationship. She becomes less affectionate in both physical and verbal ways. Casual touches, spontaneous hugs, affectionate comments, and other expressions of love become rare or feel forced when they do occur. The natural warmth that characterized your interaction together diminishes noticeably. Deep conversations which once flowed naturally between you become something she seems to avoid or end quickly. Topics that used to generate hours of discussion now receive superficial responses that prevent emotional intimacy from developing. Her investment in resolving relationship problems decreases significantly. Arguments that once motivated her to seek understanding and resolution now seem to bounce off her without creating the urgency to repair and reconnect that healthy relationships require. She seems mentally elsewhere even when physically present. During conversations, activities, or intimate moments, part of her attention seems focused on something or someone else. This divided attention creates a sense that you're not receiving her full presence. Future planning, which requires emotional investment in your relationship's continuation, becomes something she participates in reluctantly or avoids entirely. Discussions about vacations, goals, or shared projects lose the enthusiasm and commitment they once generated. Her emotional reactions to relationship milestones change too. Anniversaries, special occasions, or relationship achievements that once excited her now receive obligatory acknowledgement without genuine feeling. Pay attention to her response when you attempt to create emotional connection. Does she welcome your efforts to deepen intimacy? Or does she seem uncomfortable with vulnerability and closeness? Does she reciprocate when you share feelings, thoughts, or concerns? The most telling aspect of this attitude is her apparent comfort with the emotional distance. While you might feel the disconnection as a problem requiring attention, She seems unbothered by or even relieved by the reduced intimacy. This suggests her emotional needs are being met elsewhere.